All right, welcome to the third edition of Dead by Daylight Mobile Adventures. Playing as Cheryl. I have her in the first match with this bloody, gory attire, and then the second one is the regular clean look. I'm starting off doing something different from what I usually do, which I mentioned before. I like to go to the gen that's furthest away, because sometimes the killer will instinctively go to generators that are further from them, so they'll have a chance of getting to you. But this time I said, all right, I'm just going to do this one. Sometimes I do a little different things each match. And I do think I have a general play style of always try to do generators, because when I play with randoms, which is the case with both of these matches, there is a tendency for, especially when a killer is snowballing, where they're just knocking one person and hitting this person, to not have anyone doing generators, and thus not having the match progress on the side of the survivors. So with that generator done, he goes in there. I'm walking around a little bit, trying to just scope out the area. I always assume the killer is probably going to come to a gen when it's finished, but I hold my breath, so I start on this one. But notice that there's very little filler or just things I'm doing outside of going to generators. Unless I'm being chased by the killer, I'm always doing a generator. There's actually one match I recorded where I did 4 of them in one match. So someone falls prey to Trapper's trap. Sounds a little redundant, I know. And what's interesting about this Trapper is that I don't think we've had in either of the videos before this me encountering a Trapper. Trappers are really... he's a lot more dangerous generally than people give him credit for, because while he is one of the early killers and the one that you basically start off with, there are people who've played as him so much that they've made a character who is, or excuse me, a killer who is supposed to be just this basic villain into a tactician in terms of where they put the traps and how it affects you. So I'm thinking that no one's going to rescue this person, and this is where I make my mistake. I come so close to this generator, and I'm just focused on trying to get to that person before the hook time runs out, that I don't even notice this trap right here. And this is what makes Trapper dangerous, because as one of the earlier killers in the game, I'm very incentivized to believe, okay, this will be an easier match than, some of the more later edition killers. And then stuff like that happens. So I did lower my guard. And I do have to remember to watch my feet when I go against Trapper. But I don't feel too badly about being on the hook, because my teammates, to their credit, have done gens. And with only 2 to go, with 1 person on the hook, 2 people, now 3 people in full health, this is not going bad at all. Especially when you factor in the generator that I mostly did before coming over here to make my admittedly unsuccessful attempt to rescue that person. So Ash rescues me. I was going to disarm the trap myself because I wanted to get some points, but I let him. No big deal. I go over to that gen that I had mostly finished to see if Trapper had caught any glimpse of it, because I didn't remember him going over there. So he didn't mess with it. We tried to finish it up as quickly as possible. Of course, I'm looking around to make sure he doesn't come. So we're successful. Now I'm assuming Trapper's coming because he tried to heal me and then started to, run. Normally when I'm getting chased and my heart has the terror radius and is red, I try to look behind me to see what's going on. So there I see him. And I also like to split from the other person, because when you have 2 people that are getting chased by the killer and they're both hiding in like the same area, or they're both running together, it does help the killer, because you're allowing one person to dictate how half of the opposing side is playing by having 2 people run from one person. So we go over here. Trapper's still following me. I try to be stealthy. I always forget I'm not a ninja. He seems to disappear, but I know since my heart is still beating, he's not that far away. Now, I mentioned this during the second installment of this series when I was playing against Clown, that a lot of killers will get tunnel vision. So even if they're close to you, they won't even attempt or try to hurt you because they're too busy chasing someone else. Which is the case with Trapper. He was chasing me, and then he went evidently to go after another person. So heart starts beating. He returns. I'm trying to do some slick with this tree. He bangs the generator, which I'm not too upset over. I'd rather he banged that one than the other one because the other one was much closer to being finished. That one I just kind of started and said, yeah, this probably won't go all the way because he's not that far away. So I'm pretty content with that decision. I don't like it, but it's much more preferable to what could have happened earlier in the match. Now I go back to the generator. Again, assuming that he's now going around, because there's a lot of pressure on this Trapper from the fact that he has 4 people still in the match and only 1 generator left. So I assume he's trying to make sure that nobody finishes that last generator. So again, I'm still on the winning team, even if he did something that slightly dampened my plans by damaging the generator. It's too little, too late. He went off and did his own thing. Now me and Claudette are going to finish this together. This is another one of those matches where, you know, I have these teammates and it's almost like we're playing a different game because we don't interact with each other. Up to that point, I realized the only person I had actually really spent any time with during this match was the Ash that you saw earlier, who took me off the hook. It does seem that there's a correlation between barely seeing your teammates and more effective strategies against killers. So when people are all doing something independent from each other, there's a higher chance of actually being successful and everybody making it out. Now I see this trap. I learned my lesson. So I go to disarm it and then open this door. And I already know he's probably around her because my heart's beating and I'm likely not going to finish this. But when he grabs her, that's when I know, okay, I probably can finish this and leave out of here. That's always the thing that reminds me, this is a horror game when you gotta power up. You powered up the generators, which already took, you know, like a minute to do each one. Then you're worried about if you can power up the exit gate on time or quick enough. All right, so that Claudette that helped me earlier. This is weird to me. So instead of going to the exit, which is open, and now he sees me, she goes inside. But I'm not like Claudette, so I decide to leave. Now it's a good thing I disarmed that trap because I stepped on it again. Okay, right here as I'm leaving, he places a trap on the ground inside the exit gate. That is an extremely tactical thing for him to do, and you're going to see the payoff for it right now. So Claudette, the one that helped me in the last generator, is trying her hardest to wiggle. And I always hate wiggling because most of the time you either barely can do any before you get put on the hook, or you do so much of it that it's even more infuriating to be put on the hook in the first place. But she's basically at death's door because she can't make any attempts herself to escape. I think he made a mistake by going through that right there, the vault, because from what I remember, those notify the killer that you're at that specific location. So this is the payoff that I was talking about. Now see, this Claudette, she didn't go through before and now he gets knocked down. That Claudette didn't go through before he got caught by that trap, so she could have helped him, but just kept, self-preservation kicked in. This was not a happy ending to watch at all, because this person did help me, so Ash sacrificed himself for Claudette. A really sad development, if you ask me. He was a helpful player, and he will be missed. Now that I've done my eulogy, let's turn to the second match. It's always funny to see killers just completely annihilate teams on this map because it's considered one of the survivor-friendly ones, if you will, for the multiple places to hide and windows to jump out of and, pallets. So again, breaking with my tradition, I start in the generator that's nearest to me. I'm looking around because I still know who the killer is. They could sneak up on me without my terror radius going off. And there actually is a match, I didn't record it, where I was doing a generator that's inside one of those houses, and Ghostface came right behind me and trapped me inside the room, as in the generator was half of the room and I was on the other part, and there was nowhere for me to go. It was, ever since then, I've decided to just kind of avoid doing those, unless it's really close to the end of the match. But you can watch my downfall in real time here. So this is already kind of looking a little worrisome because we don't have one generator done yet. And whoever that person is presumably getting chased and now knocked down by the killer. And there's something a person said, I don't remember who it was, but I tend to agree with it. Whenever someone gets knocked down, and there's less than 2 generators finished, there's a very strong possibility that that person and that team is probably not going to survive. And the reason for that is because since this game doesn't have some secret way for the survivors to speak with each other and coordinate strategies, a lot of times you might have 2 people who will go to rescue that person, and then one person might do a generator. And basically, because of that person getting caught, it causes 2 other people to have a chance of getting caught and, not doing the generators or their spirit. And then also increases the chances. So you see a waste of time. And this is a snowball effect if I've ever seen one. I went to go save this person. Not only do I fail to save them because I get knocked right on the floor after spirit sees me, but I also get myself caught up in Spirit's gaze. So now I'm being chased. That happens when you get captured. That was a pretty decent dodge right there. I don't usually credit myself because I'm this amazing player, but there are some ways of dodging killers that I found really interesting. So I'm finally defeated. And this is a kind of disappointing thing because in the time that chase was going on, I'm fully convinced the cape that's right here could have gone to the person playing as Bill and resuscitated them. So the Kate is seen and gets hit and now tries to do the thing that I believe she should have done earlier. Overbeck gets knocked down for the second time. Another fatal mistake. Kate gets me down right in front of Spirit, so now Spirit knocks her down, and of course, or I assumed, is going to go after me, so she can have 3 people on the floor, but instead doesn't. But I am grateful. One of the things I try to do is if someone rescues me, I attempt to rescue them as well. Go somewhere and see if I can hide, which is what's being done right here. But to go back to Fatal Flaws, and you're going to see it, Overbeck comes to where I am, and he's running. So now Spirit knows where we both are. So Spirit comes over there. I get knocked down again. Nobody goes to rescue Kate. I don't feel bad because I tried to rescue her, but I wasn't healed. This other person's doing a generator. I think what the other person's intent was to just pile through generators, like see if the three of us could last long enough to buy some time. I was wiggling like crazy and it just wasn't enough. You saw that thing fill up almost halfway before I get thrown this hook. But yeah, Kate dies. That is at the point where I'm kind of just ready to get out of this match, because I just don't find it pleasant when someone saves, because they didn't have to do that, and so when they save another person and they end up getting killed, it always sucks to me. Just as a survivor, the idea that they're punished for doing what is encouraged by the game to rescue your teammate. So Overbeck is seemingly being chased by Spirit. And that allows the person playing as Jane, Jane is being chased by Spirit. Now, what ended up happening was, like I said, I believe that Jane was trying to finish all the generators and have the three of us just hold down the fort, which wouldn't have had enough time anyway because we're on the ground or on hooks. And knowing that this was seemingly her intent before she was interrupted by Spirit and started to run, I go to finish the generator, and you can see it's almost done. And this is pretty much the only contribution that goes the way I wanted it to, other than doing that generator at the start of the match. From here, it is all downhill. Now, I have an ability that lets me see the ores of generators around me, and just in the map. So 3 generators at all times, right after doing a generator, and where they are to get to them. So I try to go to this one because it's relatively close, and this is the fatal error that happens. Jane brings Spirit to where we are, and then Spirit course corrects and goes after me instead of Jane. And there really was nowhere. The thing is, when you go out the window, especially on the upper floors, you lose all forward momentum. So if I had jumped out of the window, Spirit would jump out after me and throw an attack, and it would probably hit me, which has happened multiple times with different killers. Now, because I was recording this match versus, just playing regularly, I tried to put up a struggle there before I was given to the entity. If I'm put on the hook the third time before that, if I'm knocked down for the third time and then put on the hook, I don't resist, because I already accept, alright, I tried, it's not enough, that's it. So, defeated by Spirit. It's crazy how all of these are ending in 1 victory, 1 loss. That's what does make me not really feel bad about losing as a survivor, because a lot of the matches where I lose, there's a very strong correlation between other people being defeated as well. So this person goes in the hook, Overbeck is right there, and for some reason he drops the pallet before it can actually stun Spirit, which lets Spirit know where he is. And then he makes the mistake of going on the pallet and trying to jump. He goes too quickly, so she's able to go on the other side. And this person is now just trying to free themselves, and it doesn't work out. So everyone was defeated in this match. I'm spoiling it for you right now. Out of these 2 matches and the 8 survivors, if you want to count me as 2 because it's 2 different matches with me in it, out of the 8 survivors of these 2 matches, only 2 of them survived. So that should tell you something about how strong these killers are. Anyways, thank you for watching.